Later on the Tonight Show, Jake kowtows to Three Kings leading royal George Clooney. Plus, the always unpredictable Durst quadruplets. And what if Joan Osborne was one of us? Your local news is next.
The latest on how traffic is flowing or not flowing on I-20 following a bad wreck this afternoon. A verdict tonight in a trooper's murder case in Dillon County. Brady has a great weekend forecast. And tonight we find out why Rick is a broadcaster and not a lumberjack. Nightcast now.
WIS listens in the spirit of Carolina. From the capital city, live late-breaking news with Susan Audet Fisher, Steve Crocker, meteorologist Ken O'Gwen, and Rick Henry, sports. This is WIS News Nightcast.
If you were stuck on I-20 tonight, this is why. A terrible collision in Columbia ties up traffic and sends rescuers scrambling to save lives. Good evening. Thanks for being with us. I'm Steve Crocker. Susan is off. A number of cars collided on I-20 just before 6 p.m. tonight, leaving pieces of metal all over the interstate and diesel fuel leaking from a tanker truck. 2 people were taken to hospitals with serious injuries, but late word is tonight that both are expected to survive. We want to show you what the scene looked like all night in the westbound lanes of I-20 just before the Broad River Road exit. The cleanup is still going on with one lane closed and traffic still backed up. But as Rob Hayes reports, there's a world of difference between what the interstate looks like now and what it looked like just a few hours ago.
Take just one look at this and you know things here happen fast and without warning. 2 cars and a tanker truck collide.
When we arrived on the scene, we had 2 persons that were entrapped in the vehicles, in separate vehicles.
And concern quickly grew. The tanker was leaking diesel.
Naturally, we're concerned with fire. We tried to cut all power to the vehicles, and we actually applied some foam to suppress the vapors. We were concerned with ignition.
For a while, westbound lanes are shut down. People get out and walk around on the interstate. Eventually, the emergency lane is opened, allowing some cars to slowly pass by. Drivers show faces of shock as they look at the wreckage. Much like they did just 3 months ago when another horrific wreck involving 20 vehicles happened on this very same stretch of interstate. That's when a truck ran into the back of a tour bus with deadly results. A woman inside the truck was killed. 12 people were rushed to area hospitals. Last May, before both of these wrecks, the speed limit on this stretch of interstate was raised from 55 to 65. Now, this Columbia firefighter questions if things have simply gotten too fast.
This corridor, as you know, has had some very serious accidents, and I don't really know what the answer is, but, you know, we need to look at something. Maybe the speed limit may be a factor here.
The wreckage of this latest wreck is hauled off. Now, the questions begin. Like, is there any way to stop this from happening again? Rob Hayes, WIS News.
The Highway Patrol expects to reopen that closed lane within the next hour. Investigators say the driver of the tanker truck ran into 2 cars. The driver, 38-year-old Stephen Jones of Windsor, is charged with driving too fast for conditions. Every year in South Carolina, almost 180,000 women are diagnosed with breast cancer, and 1/4 of them will die younger than they probably should. Breast Cancer Awareness Month begins tomorrow. Tonight, the Walk for Life banquet at the Sheraton Hotel in Columbia kicked off a series of events here in the Midlands intended to raise money for research. Tonight's keynote speaker was journalist Bob Woodward, who helped uncover the Watergate scandal that led to President Richard Nixon's resignation. And tonight, politics was still on his mind.
No, it's nice to be in South Carolina, and I'm going to take a poll tonight of the people here and see if I can get some idea of what's happening in Politics 2000.
If you're interested in learning more about breast cancer and how it can affect women, call 1-800-4-CANCER. The people at Columbia Metropolitan Airport spent tonight talking about the airport's future. The people from the community were invited to Midlands Tech's airport campus to hear about the airport's 20-year master plan. Aviation leaders are in the midst of reviewing the airport's future needs and found plenty of things to consider.
And that means everything from hangars to roads to parking to runways to terminal building, anything else that you can imagine that might occur. We need to have a plan available to meet the need.
As you might imagine, one thing most passengers say they'd like to see at the airport, lower fares. Airport officials are trying to lure low-fare heavyweight Southwest Airlines to Columbia. However, there is no indication that a deal is imminent. Recent rain across South Carolina has helped the state's drought situation, but the Midlands and the upstate still need lots more rain. Members of the state's Drought Response Committee met today in Greenville, where they downgraded the Midlands drought status from severe to moderate. The drought remains severe in the upstate, but the advisory has been removed for several counties along the coast and the low country. It doesn't look like we're going to get any rain until the beginning of next week. Meteorologist Brady Smith has details and your first forecast. Brady?
That's right, Steve. Lots of dry conditions, and that's really good news, especially for the folks in the flooded areas of Horry County and here in the Midlands as well, because we've had some rain now. We want the nice conditions for your weekend coming up. And check out your forecast for the next 24 hours. Overnight tonight, a bit crisp out there. 45 degrees, the low temperature under clear skies. And tomorrow, a day almost identical to today, except the wind won't be as strong. Lots of sunshine and 77 for a high temperature. I'll have your details on the weekend forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, we'll catch you then, Brady. 4 counties in South Carolina are now eligible for disaster unemployment assistance, according to President Clinton. That means people in Berkeley, Williamsburg, Colleton, and Marion counties can apply for special unemployment benefits if they were forced out of work by Hurricane Floyd. People who want to apply for benefits should call the State Employment Security Commission. The effects of Hurricane Floyd are still being felt, though, in Horry County as the Waccamaw River slowly returns to its normal level. Forecasters expect the river will drop below flood stage sometime next week. In the morning, Governor Jim Hodges plans to release details of a 160-page report concerning the state's evacuation plan for Hurricane Floyd. The report, which was delivered to the governor today, is the result of hearings held last week in Charleston. It outlines what went wrong in the evacuation of the state's coastline during the hurricane and suggests improvements. Former state representative Harry Hallman, who helped compile the report, says it does not recommend that anyone lose their jobs as a result of the fiasco. On Tuesday, the head of the Highway Patrol, Colonel Wesley Luther, resigned. According to state government sources, Luther's resignation was a result of the evacuation problems before Hurricane Floyd. We've got an update now on last night's top story. At least 14 mobile homes were destroyed and more than 24 others were damaged when a tornado touched down just north of Hartsville. Today, people returned to their homes to try to salvage whatever they could. Several people were treated at hospitals for cuts and bruises, but no one was seriously hurt. Meanwhile, Darlington County leaders hope to have a preliminary estimate tomorrow morning of how much damage the tornado caused. If you're planning on voting in the upcoming video poker referendum, but you're not a registered voter, you'll have to be one by Saturday. Since the end of August, almost 20,000 people around the state have registered to vote. Richland County has registered 1,500 new voters, Lexington County nearly 900, and Orangeburg has registered 147 new voters since August. You can still register by mail, but your registration form must be postmarked by Saturday. Registration forms are available at many churches and convenience stores and other locations. Meanwhile, some county registration offices will be open for a few hours on Saturday to handle last-minute registration. A list of offices with Saturday hours is available on our website at WIS-TV.com. Other news around the state tonight starts in Orangeburg. Inspectors from the state health department say they believe bats may have left Mitchell Hall dorm at South Carolina State University. The DHEC investigators toured the dorm with university personnel today, but they couldn't find the bats that forced administrators to remove 144 students from the dorm. Administrators hope to have repairs complete so students can return to the hall in about 2 weeks. The South Carolina Chamber of Commerce has named its Business Leader of the Year. Columbia native William Castles is chairman